Okay, everybody. It's me, Caleb James, back here again, breaking down, doing some early breakdowns on the Chiefs' 55-man roster, just making some predictions. As always, make sure you are following at Arrowhead Live, Mahomes season, Chiefs take, and of course myself, so that you can get the greatest and latest Chiefs content. And also make sure to check out the website at arrowheadlive.com. So as you remember from the last video, I broke down my predictions for the offensive side of the ball. So in this video, I'm going to start breaking down who I think is going to make the team on defense. And we're going to start with the defensive line, which I think is a very strong part of the team as a whole, and it's a very deep position. So starting out, obviously all the starters from last year, including Mike Pennell, because I basically counted him as a starter through the playoffs and all of that. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Noddy, Pennell, Okafor before he got hurt, and even K-Pass when he was in there in the absence of Okafor. Those guys all played at a real high level, and I think that them combined with Colin Saunders, that was a very solid unit in the middle of the field, and they did some good work to shut down some good run games like they did against Tennessee in the AFC Championship game, like they did to hold the 49ers in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. And I think that Colin Saunders this season, we'll get to see him progress. Obviously, Chris Jones, it appears like the Chiefs are going to be working on an extension with him. And I also look for Frank Clark to have a big season after he had the monster postseason runs. And Michael Dana, the drafted this year, he's kind of a tweener. He can play an outside or an inside position. I think in Kansas City, just given his body type, height, and body weight, I think he is going to be he's going to be an outside rusher to kind of be a depth guy for this year to go along with Okafor and K-Pass. I think that they're going to try to sprinkle him in. He had great production at the University of Michigan, and I'm actually going to be doing a film review on him, hopefully sometime in the near future. But I know there is one name not on this list for this group that I think people would expect, and that is Breeland Speaks. Instead of Breeland Speaks being the last man to make the defensive line, basically, I put it as Tim Ward, and the reason I did that was we have not seen a lot out of Speaks in his 2 seasons. And I know everyone's going to light me up for this probably. He was not a fit for the 3-4 defense, and that is not his fault. But his injury last year and the fact that he was trying to come in and play an interior position, and all of a sudden the emergence of Mike Pennell and Colin Saunders starting to come forward, I think that really hurts his chances of making the ball club. And the fact that he is not a great edge rusher does also. Tim Ward is the kind of guy the Chiefs will be able to bring in on a pass down, and he'll be able to apply pressure. He's 6'6", very tall, long, and athletic pass rusher. I expect to see him in on some sub packages if he does end up making the 55-man roster. But that'll be something to keep an eye on as it gets time as we head further into the offseason, if the Chiefs have a plan with Breeland Speaks, which obviously it'll be hard to tell with no OTAs and no minicamp and things like that. So now we're going to be getting into the linebackers, and I see this unit remaining fairly similar to what we saw last year, except for Willie Gay Jr. is the guy this unit has been missing. I think that the starters are going to be Hitchens, Wilson, and Willie Gay Jr., with Neiman and O'Daniel coming in off the bench, maybe some sub packages, but probably mostly just those good special team players, those good role guys Kansas City needs. But with the acquisition of a Willie Gay Jr., who's going to be able to play that weak side linebacker, and he's going to be able to play off the ball and cover, they're going to be able to let Hitchens and Wilson do what they do best, and that's get downhill and get to the football. And especially for Hitchens, I think that's going to free him up to be able to really play between the tackles and plug those holes up and run through the A gap and the B gap. And I think that it'll also help Wilson focus less on having to rely on playing the pass, and he can kind of just go in there and play the flats, and he can kind of look for the toss and things like that, and it's going to help him out a lot. I still do expect to see Neiman on the field in some in some sub packages. As we could see, I mean, the Spagnola and Matt House obviously have confidence in him. He was in the Super Bowl in big plays, but a guy who is on the roster right now, Dorian O'Daniel. I think he has a lot to prove, maybe as much to prove as anybody, because this will be his third year coming in, and I know that there has been a need at that linebacker position for a linebacker that has the athleticism and the speed to be able to cover passes like they're trying to get in Willie Gay Jr. O'Daniel, I know a lot of people have wanted him to step into that role, but he hasn't really shown it. He's been a phenomenal special teamer, a great team player, but I think that for his development and going forward, he is going to have to really show out in whatever kind of limited preseason and training camp setting there is going to be this year. And last but not least on the defense, we have the defensive backs, and I'll start by talking about the safety unit, which I do believe this is the deepest and most talented safety unit in the NFL right now. You got the All-Pro Tyrann Mathieu, All-Rookie Juan Thornhill. You have Dan Sorensen, who played I don't know how many big reps down the line, and you have a very good backup, very good special teams player in Armani Watts. The safeties in Kansas City right now, this is as good as they've ever been, and I think that this is going to be they're going to be one of the stronger points of the defense this year, and where there might be some inexperience at corner, I think the flexibility of those guys is going to be able to come in and make up, because now as we do get to those cornerback positions, Charvarius Ward, he is really turned on as a player. He is going to be a reliable starter who will be able to play in big moments. As we've seen, he's proven it by now. He'll be a day one starter at corner, but now kind of the elephant in the room with Bashaud Breeland and his legal situations and suspension. I do expect him to still be around on the roster despite of everything that's happening. There's been guys that have played for doing a lot worse things than he did, but it's not the right thing always. But I think that he will end up back on the roster because, as we all know, Andy Reid is a man of second chances. But I think that him being gone the first 4 games due to suspension is really going to open up to any of these other 6 guys who I do think will make the roster, starting with a guy like Rashad Fenton, who I think is going to be more of a slot guy. I think he's going to do some Kendall Fuller-like things with the departure of Fuller. As we saw in the Super Bowl, he's kind of playing like that deep slot. It's almost a safety. It's basically he's just playing like a deep slot on the corner and some passing downs. He saw that. We saw him do some of that. Fenton has really actually had a good rookie season for being drafted where he was. And now we get into some of the new guys on the team where I think the 2 draft picks, L'Jarius Sneed and Bo Pete Keys, these are guys that are going to have a chance to come in and compete at corner right away. The Chiefs actually traded back up to take Bo Pete Keys because that's how much they wanted him on their roster. So I think trading a draft pick is a pretty safe bet to say that he's going to be on the team. And L'Jarius Sneed, he played corner and safety. The Chiefs have made it clear they want him to be a corner. He's another guy who I think will be able to play the inside corner well, will be able to play the outside. He's a freak athlete, another guy that Spags is going to love coaching, the guy that they're going to be able to develop. So I also have Antonio Hamilton, the free agent pickup, spent last season with the New York Giants. He's a guy that not the greatest corner, solid team guy, but where he's going to make his contributions and why he's going to make this team is he is a great special teamer. He's a great gunner. I did a breakdown of him, a film review of him, a big article. You should go check it out. I think he's probably one of the best gunners in the league. He will make his impact felt on special teams. And now we got the 2 undrafted free agents, one of which was rated the top undrafted corner, Javaris Davis, and also Lavert Hill, who I know many had going from like the 5th to the 7th round. It seems kind of like they were steals to be able to pick up those guys after that. Those are undrafted free agents who I think are going to make the roster, and these are guys that are going to benefit from that expansion of the 55-man roster who are going to be able to go out there. And that's why I think the Chiefs are going to carry more players at defensive back, like most teams do, for like the reasons that these are the versatile guys that they're going to be able to plug and play on special teams right away, but also with a guy like Breeland, an established starter who's going to miss some time, it's going to give these guys a chance to go in and compete right away, and we're going to get to see what they're made of really quickly. This is going to wrap it up for part 2 of the roster breakdown. I'll be back with part 3 with the specialists and some practice squad guys to watch. Thank you for listening, and go Chiefs.